We don't like national restaurants. We have a really good, strong foodie scene here. We have access to fresh ingredients. We have farms that are local right here. We have world-renowned seafood, very strong boutique farming industry here, local markets. So the big national chains have never done well here. On the flip side of that, there's also some economics that there's reasons why they don't do well here. We're a no-tip credit state.
Welcome back to Behind the Lease. Today we are in the Pacific Northwest with a true market authority. My guest is Maria Royer, principal at Real Retail. For over 30 years, Maria has shaped the Seattle skyline. Her team is the force behind the retail strategies for iconic projects like Amazon's world headquarters and Rainier Square. She is the broker who brings global heavyweights like Uniqlo, Sephora, and Shake Shack into the market. And if you want to know if Seattle is really back, she is the one to ask. Maria, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Maria, your fingerprint is on some of the most innovative retail projects in the country, especially your work with Amazon World Headquarters. We worked on 4-Star together. When you were working with a client that is, inventing a new way to shop, how did that change the site selection process? Give us a little bit of history on 10 years of your life that you spent on that.
Honestly, it's one of the most fascinating things I've ever done in my career, and remains a career high to be a part of creating and being a part of a vision and having a partner like Amazon, who is obviously one of the biggest companies in the world, take it down to a street level where it's just a small group of people that have amazing visions for Seattle. The heart and soul that went into that was impressive and continues to be impressive. And even more impressive how they were as a landlord during the pandemic. I mean, they really had a fund set up for all the small businesses, not only their own tenants, but tenants that were adjacent to their properties, of how they could immediately fund resources to them to keep them afloat during the pandemic. That creativity that they saw in our advisory services and the teams that we built, they can do all the machine learning, they can do all the AI, but they don't have that creativity. And that's what separated, I think, the vision apart from the world headquarters, and creating something that was local, unique, beloved. They went and rolled these things out very, very quickly, and they wanted to learn their way. They didn't want to learn through somebody else's corporate lens or somebody else's how they rolled out their stores. And in some ways, people might say that's the hard way. But we don't know all the information and the data that they were able to obtain that accelerates their customer experience. I mean, the customer is king with them. It's always been the customer. I continue to see this as a consumer as they evolve. I think that creative part still remains, just in a very different way.
You brought massive outsiders, big brands into Seattle and into the Pacific Northwest, but Seattle definitely has a reputation for being a very specific local first market. So what's the biggest mistake national brands make when they enter Seattle? Do they underestimate how different the consumer behavior is there compared to other markets?
We don't like national restaurants. We have a really good, strong foodie scene here. We have access to fresh ingredients. We have farms that are local right here. We have world-renowned seafood, very strong boutique farming industry here, local markets. So the big national chains have never done well here. On the flip side of that, there's also some economics that there's reasons why they don't do well here. We're a no-tip credit state. We have the highest minimum wage in the United States. So it's expensive to do business here. So you can't spot a billionaire here. We're very humble. In the very beginnings, Jeff Bezos and Bill Gates drove Honda Acuras, and even to this day, you can't spot the wealth, right? You just can't tell by what they're wearing and the clothes that they wear. But also it's very practical. So, I always tell the story that, don't judge this person because they probably have $15,000 worth of gear that they go hiking with. And, it's the best gear that's produced and it's the most technical gear. We have a lot of A-type personalities. So, outdoor enthusiasts with the outdoor wear is done very, very well here, but also the health and wellness category is done really well here. And that whole longevity with the A-type personalities are really seeking, how we can live this healthy, holistic lifestyle from a food and beverage standpoint, from a lifestyle standpoint, from a health and wellness standpoint. So those brands tend to do really well.
You're on the President's Roundtable for the Downtown Seattle Association, so you see the real data. So are you seeing the downtown core finally starting to recapture that flagship energy in 2026?
Well, both sides of the lake need to work together. We just got the data in. I just looked at it this morning that our residential move-ins to Seattle are past 2019. That has to do with Amazon announcing 5 days a week. It's a real 5-day a week. You are coming in 5 days a week and you are working there, not just checking your badge. Equinox just opened downtown Seattle, and they're reporting this as one of their most successful openings outside of New York in their company history. And they're seeing significant check-ins every day. One of our tenants is national tenants that's located in downtown Seattle, international client. Their sales are up 15% over 2024. We've come a long way, but we still have some work to do.
Well, speaking of flagship deals, or you definitely just recently backfilled a key space in downtown Seattle.
There were very significant vacancies in downtown Seattle, and a lot of that was by design, honestly. Pacific Place, which is a 320,000 square foot vertical mall, that had been in transition for the past 5 years, with that previous ownership trying to decide if they want to sell it, they want to add density to it, do they want to redevelop the upper floors? They had put it on the market, did not get any buyers, and finally it sold last year because it got to a point where it made sense for them to transact and for the opportunity to make sense for a buyer. And BH Properties bought that, and they are now transacting, but they had not been transacting. They couldn't transact, couldn't do any long-term leases for the last 3 years. Across the street was the exact same thing, which is 601 Pine, which is a beautiful old Magnin department store, turn of the century, beautiful tall ceilings, lots of natural light, small floor plate, 16,000 square feet. You get a lot of power out of that square box. And that's a 72,000 square foot building. And we had a tenant that had been kicking tires in downtown Seattle for a relocation, and that's Nordstrom Rack. And Nordstrom Rack at the beginning of 2024 said that we want to explore opportunities to relocate out of Westlake Park. Westlake Park is in a basement space with lower ceilings. It does not have the branding and the visibility that they'd like. And this building does. It's catty corner from their flagship mothership across the street. It's got, 100 feet of frontage on both our 50-yard line on 6th Avenue and Pine Street. And they fell in love with the building. And so that allowed the previous ownership to package that lease with a new buyer. A new buyer said, I love this Nordstrom Rack deal. I will buy the building with the Nordstrom Rack lease in place. We were lucky enough to put all these Rubik's Cube pieces together, and they will be closing on that this week. And Nordstrom Rack is slated to open Q1 of 2027, early Q2. That's going to be a very significant store, having both of those locations right across the street from each other, generating huge volumes.
Are there any other pivotal projects that you're working on in Seattle?
Well, one that I've been working on for 10 years is 1200 Stewart. They started construction in 2017. It'll be 2027 when they open, but it's an amazing 1,000 unit project, mixed use projects, 2 twin towers, a 3-story galleria with a Boeing fuselage hung from the ceiling that will be this really cool kind of sky bar. We have 35,000 square foot Live Nation that'll have 2,700 seats, generating close to 1 million people coming into the project every year. We have a 15,000 square foot Trader Joe's that will open. And then we're negotiating leases for another entertainment in that 17,000 square foot size range, and then a health and wellness spa user in that 15,000 square foot size range. So this project was envisioned by Westlake Properties in Vancouver. OPTrust is their partner and has now taken over the project. It's had a lot of starts and stops over the years, but I think that this is going to be an extremely iconic new project, not only in Seattle, but I say in the Pacific Northwest and maybe even on the West Coast. Architecture is stunning. The Galleria is stunning. This Boeing fuselage hanging from the Galleria is incredible. And the Fillmore Live Nation, just being able to have new talent come to an intimate music venue here in downtown, in addition to our larger music venues, it will be incredible for Seattleites and people throughout the region to come see a really intimate concert.
You've been a dominant player for decades in Seattle, but you are also active on Brand March. Why is it important for a firm with your level of established relationships to still be visible on digital platforms?
Well, that's really the wave of the future, right? Is these digital platforms, but married with relationships, right? You can't just have digital without relationships, I think, in our business. And our business is still a relationship business. It's still a very tactile business. We have all the data in the world and we all are using that. Data is becoming more and more common, but what is still uncommon for us are these relationships, and that how we can use AI and data to enhance what we're doing. At least the type of retail that I've been fortunate to be involved in is still a very tactile business. And it's still about, in some ways, it's your gut, but, reinforcing your gut decision with the data and having, the relationships that you are building and we've built across the country, and a forum where we can exchange ideas, we can exchange conflicts, we can exchange creative concepts. For me personally, is huge, and it's a game changer. And I look forward to more of the brand presentations, and I look forward to meeting people that I haven't met over the years and exchanging ideas, and also, honestly, to bring new young people into the business, I guess re-energize where our business is going. And I see this as a platform to do that. We've come a long way, but we still have some work to do.